Jnana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha E Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Chapter 9, text 13. Mahatmanastumam partha daivim prakritim ashritaha bhajantyananya manaso gyatva bhutadim avyayam. O son of Pritha, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. Text 14. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha jidhavadaha namasyantascha mam bhaktya nityayukta upasate. Always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me, these great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. Text 15. Jnana yagyena chapyen ye yanye yajanto mam upasate ekatvena pritaktvena bahudha vishvato mukam. Others who are engaged in the cultivation of knowledge worship the Supreme Lord as the one without a second, diverse in many and in the universal form. Text 16. Aham kratur aham yagya svadhaham aham oshadham mantroham aham evajyam aham agnir aham hutam. But it is I who am the ritual, I the sacrifice, the offering to the ancestors, the healing herb, the transcendental chant. I am the butter and the fire. Yeah. Exit.
Should I take someone out?
Um,
Oh, okay.
Text 17. Pitaham
Asya
asya mata dhata pitamaha vedyam vivikram omkara riksama yajur evacha. I am the father of this universe, the mother, the support, and the grandsire. I am the object of knowledge, the purifier, and the syllable Om. I am also the Rik, the Sama, and the Yajur Vedas. Text 18. Gatir Varta Prabhu Shakshi Nivasa Sharanam Suhrit Prabhabha Pralaya Stanam Nidhanam Bijamavyayam. I am the goal, the sustainer, the master, the witness, the abode, the refuge, and the most dear friend. I am the creation and the annihilation, the basis of everything, the resting place, and the eternal seed. Text 19. Tapam yaham aham svarsham nigrinham utsrijami cha amritam chaiva mrityuscha sad asach chaham arjuna. O Arjuna, I control heat, the rain, and the drought. I am immortality, and I am also death personified. Both being and non-being are in me. Text 20. Trividyamam somapaputa papa yajna ishtva svargatim prarthayante te punyam asadya surendra lokam ashanti divyan divideva bhogan. Those who study the Vedas and drink the soma juice, seeking the heavenly planets, worship me indirectly. They take birth on the planet of Indra, where they enjoy godly delights. Text 21. Te tam bhukta svargalokam vishadam shnine punye martyalokam vishanti evam trayi dharmam anuprapana katagatam kama kama labhante. When they have thus enjoyed heavenly sense pleasure, they return to this mortal planet again. Thus, through the Vedic principles, they achieve only flickering happiness. Text 22. Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. Those who worship me with devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and preserve what they have. Text 23. Yepyanya devata bhakta yajante shradhayanvitaha tepi mam eva konteya yajantya vidhi purvakam. Whatever a man may sacrifice to other gods, O son of Kunti, is really meant for me alone, but it is offered without true understanding. Okay. This part of it. Right. Chapter 9, text 13. O son of Pritha, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. Purport. In this verse, the description of Mahatma is clearly given. The first sign of the Mahatma is that he is already situated in the divine nature. He is not under the control of material nature. And how is this effected? That is explained in the 7th chapter. One who surrenders unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, at once becomes freed from the control of material nature. That is the qualification. One can become free from the control of material nature as soon as he surrenders his soul to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the preliminary formula. Being marginal potency, as soon as the living entity is freed from the control of material nature, he is put under the guidance of the spiritual nature. The guidance of the spiritual nature is called Daivim Prakritim, divine nature. So when one is promoted in that way by surrendering to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one attains to the stage of great soul, Mahatma. The Mahatma does not divert his attention to anything outside Krishna because he knows perfectly well that Krishna is the original Supreme Person, cause of all causes. There is no doubt about it. Such a Mahatma or great soul develops through association with other Mahatmas, pure devotees. Pure devotees are not even attracted by Krishna's other features, such as the four-armed Mahavishnu. They are simply attracted by the two-armed form of Krishna. Since they are not attracted to other features of Krishna, what to speak of the demigods, they are not concerned with any form of a demigod or of a human being. They only meditate upon Krishna in Krishna consciousness. They are always engaged in the unswerving service of the Lord in Krishna consciousness. Marsh, we'd love to hear from you about this.
Yeah, the material nature is working under Krishna's direction. And so all the difficulties that one is experiencing at the hands of material nature, she's actually a good devotee. She's a good servant of the Lord. So it's not that she has some ill intent towards the living entities. They're being treated roughly because of their being neglectful of Krishna's instructions. So they need to be corrected. And because they don't correct them, they cause harm to others. It's like a person who's not following the laws, he damages others, he steps on others' rights, or harms others. He doesn't care. So then he needs to be corrected. And the material nature is the corrective system. So it's a perfectly organized system. Sometimes they complain, if God is so great, or if there is God, why would he create a material world like this? It's perfect to correct living entities, that they can at some point realize I'm not going the right way, and I might as well surrender to Krishna. If you can't beat him, join him. And you can't beat him. So someone may say that the devotees are also dying, also getting old, they're suffering. Not the same. The difference between a cat carrying a kitten in his mouth, the mother cat, and the cat carrying the rat or the mouse in his mouth. The mouse feels death, and the devotee feels motherly protection. There's really no problems for the devotee. Whether his outside life appears to be enjoyable or not, it's quite all right. It's quite acceptable because devotee is just happy to think of Krishna. Wherever he goes, if he can think of Krishna, he's not disturbed. His mind, there's a verse, Rayana para sarvana sarvena kashtam bibhiti svarga pavarga narakeshu pituyarta darshana. The devotee of the Lord, like the Mahatma, he's willing to go anywhere for the service of the Lord, even to hell. He'll go to heaven or heaven, he doesn't care. Wherever he's sent. There are some devotees, we met them, wherever they're asked, wherever their authorities ask them to go, they'll go or do whatever assignment they're given, they'll try their best. That's a real devotee. He's not conditional. Conditional devotee, he's a real devotee too, but not in the pure state. Pure devotee has no conditions. Whatever he's required to do, he's better do it. And nothing bothers him. This was spoken by Lord Shiva when his wife had cursed Chitra Ketu to become a demon. And so Chitra Ketu accepted, yes, mother, I'll be happy to do that. He wasn't upset, just accepted it. Even though he could have become very angry, he was also powerful. So they don't become powerful. They don't become angry if they're not respected properly, or if they're given some unfair dealing. Someone's accusing them of doing something improper, or you didn't do that right. So he accepts that and he goes on with his service. Tries to do his service as best he can. It's not up to him. He's not attached to the results. He doesn't. The results are, if one is attached to the results, then it means he's thinking, if it doesn't work out the way I want, then I won't be happy. And he thinks his happiness is dependent on the results. That's mundane consciousness. But actually, his happiness, it doesn't have anything to do with his body because he's not the body. It's like if you have an automobile and someone's banging on the automobile, smashing it. Well, you feel sad because it's your vehicle, but if it's someone else's vehicle, it doesn't bother you at all. And it also, you don't feel any pain, either physical pain or mental pain, because he knows it's not my body. I don't own it, and I'm not it. Therefore, it doesn't matter what happens to that automobile, that car. I'll try to use it. If it works, I'll use it as best I can. Krishna's service. And as soon as it stops working, then Krishna will give me some other facility to serve. That's how he thinks. So therefore, he's really a pleasure to have in the world, because such persons are so peaceful. They get along with everyone. They don't get into fights or things. Not interested in trying to win a war, win a battle, win the jackpot. They're not competitors to anyone. Not trying to take anyone's girl away or money. That's in the Mahatma, great soul, and they're very rare. And what does Mahatma do? Let's see. Text number Moga Shamoga Kramana Moga Gyana Vichetasaha Vakshasimasum Shaiva Mohinam Shata. There, 13. Mahatmanas Tumam Parta Davyam Prakritamashutaha Vajanchinanyamanaso Gyadva Bhuta Divalyam. O son of Brita, those who are not deluded, great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. That's a Mahatma. And then he goes on to explain he's always chanting. So if someone claims or someone's being praised as a Mahatma, then that means he's always glorifying the Lord? If he's not, then he doesn't fit the description of a Mahatma. If he's always talking politics and things like that, then he's not a real Mahatma. Real Mahatma means great soul, is always absorbed in the service, thought of Krishna.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. So many nice points. I thought of something which um, I was reading in the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, second chapter, where it stated that the sages they they understand that worship of Vishnu will bring liberation, right? And they reject the ghastly or attractive forms of the demigods. And but it stated that they don't have any grudges against anybody else's mode of worship. But I thought of a prayer by Madhavendra Puri where he says that I apologize. He's polite about it, that he has to beg forgiveness to the forefathers and the demigods and great persons, because he's not going to be able to do anything except for sit anywhere and everywhere and think of Krishna. There's a prayer like that where he says, "You'll have to pardon me because I'm satisfied just to think of Krishna wherever I go, wherever I sit." So I thought of those things. Um, the This verse is always many times this point is kind of mentioned by Krishna, where he talks about the potency of knowledge. So we heard earlier today how when we receive knowledge, then there's a sense of detachment. Of course, Maharaj was also um, describing how this Mahatma, they're always thinking about Krishna and absorbed in his glories. And they take pleasure in glorifying him at every moment. And naturally, then they become detached, for example, from things like politics or other subject matters, which can be heard. And so knowledge brings a detachment from this material world. Uh, what's interesting is that uh, when one when one performs devotional service, then he gets knowledge, right? Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita, like that, right? That you when you perform devotional service and you get knowledge, and from that knowledge then you become detached. And then all that's left there, right, is a natural attachment of the soul for Krishna. Everyone is eternally certain of Krishna. So if all the, it's like if all the dirt is gone from a drop of water, then, um, well, that's not the example exactly. Um, my pure love for Krishna is there. And when all the dirt is taken away, then only the pure love for Krishna remains. So, yeah, like when you, I guess that example, we can use that example when you have the pure water. That pure water is like the pure love of the soul for Krishna. So whenever all the dirt is taken away, then all that remains is that pure water. Whereas, and you taste that pure flavor. Whereas if there's some water in there, if there's some dirt in there, or some dust or some sand, then you try to drink that water and you kind of taste all those particles, the contaminants, right? So anyway, when I'm mentioning this, that when you serve Krishna, then you get knowledge. And when you get knowledge, then you become detached. And when you become detached, then all that's left there is the pure urge for more service to Krishna, pure service attitude on the spiritual platform, which is found in Goloka Vrindavan, right? That's our birthright. And, but here, this verse, it's mentioning there's also another way to look at it, that when you know Krishna, then you serve him. Bhajantyananya manaso. Gyatva. This word gyatva, which means knowing. That means that one somebody who knows, right? Bhutadim avyayam. Creation, original, inexhaustible. Which Prabhupada puts that he is the supreme personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. So when we know that, right, about Krishna, then what is it? But bhajantyananya manaso. They render service without deviation of the mind. So it works the other way too. When we're, or I mean, it's it kind of they're nourishing each other. Knowledge is nourishing uh devotional service, and as well as detachment, and also uh when you know when we, or from devotional service comes knowledge and detachment like that. But then also the same thing is that it compounds. So it's like that. We go on and on learning more and more about Krishna, and we become more and more convinced. And actually, the path of devotional service, or the 9 steps of devotional service, is the blossoming of faith. So it's only natural that it's a progression, and that it's an evolution of consciousness. It's an awakening of the dormant love for Krishna, or it's a blooming of that pure love that we have for Krishna. And it's churning, it's kind of growing, it's organic. Uh it's like when we're practicing devotional service, and we get some realization about some stage of devotional service, which is particularly applicable to where we're at. We 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 kind of say you know, we're starting to come around to the temple more. We've decided to kind of be a bigger part of the devotee community. Maybe we're identifying a little bit more with the devotees, with Srila Prabhupada's movement. So then from that stage, we get some, maybe Krishna gives us some realization by our service when we're chanting our rounds. It's like that, oh, you know, like we heard a few days ago in the Srimad Bhagavatam, everyone's doing so much penance. You have to do penance. I have to do so much penance. Life is a penance. Life is hard, you know? It's not an easy trip. So maybe one day I'm chaining my rounds, and I'm thinking, wow, but this type of penance, I woke up early and I chain my rounds before I have to get on with my day. Got so many things to do, but I did this, and this type of penance is bringing me so much more, mileage. I feel happier and more satisfied and more content with this type of penance. And I definitely know Prabhupada likes this, and I'd rather make Prabhupada happy than just lose another day to you know, um, the dream world. So we may get that realization. We may get some realization about it, about something that we're reading. And then what do we do with that? We feel so fired up, that then now we're saying, well, I better, I better reach out to the devotee, or I better make some prasadam now, or I better call, you know, tune into the class, or like that, or pull out the Bhagavad Gita, or so many different things that Krishna conscious things come from that little step. So that little knowledge that we kind of Krishna revealed to us in a deeper way, in a more personal way. Anyway, those are just some ramblings, and yeah, this is also reminding me. There's the verse where in the 10th, it's the 10:8, where Krishna says, I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who know this perfectly engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. So here in this verse 9:13, Prabhupada says, they are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or rather, Krishna is saying, they are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. And in 10:8, he repeats again that, right? And actually in 10:9 also, if you read 10:9, uh, he's it talks about this too. He who knows in truth this glory and power of mine engages in unalloyed devotional service. Of this there is no doubt. So knowledge about Krishna is so valuable. And I've really been kind of um in remembrance of uh this point that Maharaj made. I think it was last week, where he's saying we should be rejoicing. We should rejoice. We should be joyous, and so uh, you know appreciative that we have this knowledge about Krishna, because nothing is more sublime than this transcendental knowledge, and it has the power to free us from the modes of material nature and beyond, and engage us in our real identities as Krishna's eternal servants. And we may not we may not feel how amazing it is to be engaged in devotional service at every second. And most of the time, actually, in our condition, pre nishta, means before we become fixed and completely free from all the nartas and our hartas, you know, then it's gonna sting all the time. It's just gonna burn, and it's gonna feel weird, and maybe have some gas or something, or maybe there's something wrong with me, or maybe there's something uh maybe there's something wrong with the devotional service, or maybe there's something wrong with Prabhupada, or maybe there's something wrong with the devotees, or maybe there's something wrong with where I stay, or there's something wrong with the temple, or maybe there's gotta be something wrong because I just don't feel right. But actually, the only thing wrong is that we don't have love for Krishna, and we got so many anarthas, and it just Krishna's sugar sweet devotional service is just medicine, and tastes really bitter right now. So that is a realization that I want to have more and more. That you know, whenever it gets tough, or whenever it feels weird, or it doesn't feel right, or it's just not really pleasing my senses the way I wish it would. That's really what it's about. It doesn't please my senses the way I wish it would please my senses. That's the thing. Devotional service isn't about my senses. So the realization which I hope to have more and more is that, that's okay. It doesn't matter. So that's the Mahatma platform where Maharaj was talking, that they don't, they don't mind how it goes. They don't care where Krishna takes them to do service. And, you know, in one sense, it's very elevated. It's very, very elevated. And yeah, Maharaj saying it's very rare. Real devotee is very rare. Pure devotee doesn't have any self interest, doesn't care about. They're just obsessed with taking the medicine. Their only business is to take the medicine of Krishna consciousness, right? Just to keep getting more purified. So when our pleasure becomes purification, when our pleasure becomes engagement in in devotional service of the Lord, whatever the result, then we're on our way to a great life, because devotional service is uncheckable. Nobody can stop us from performing devotional service. Every moment we can always be glorifying Krishna and worshiping him at every moment, especially through the easy process of chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and constant engagement in this ISKCON movement under the direct guidance of Srila Prabhupada. There's unlimited service. So we got a lot of dirt to clean to reach this Mahatma platform. But yeah, it's up to us if we want to get down to business and just get in the fire, just get to it. And there's really something to be said for that type of spirit in the devotees, that just kind of get on with it, just get down to business. What are we trying to do here? And sometimes we don't. Sometimes we just need a pep talk, or we need to just get something off our mind, and those things are natural and they're part of devotional service, and they're part of the faith building. Because say something's preventing me externally, or I think something's preventing me from just getting on with the purification. I got so many anarthas. I'm so contaminated. I got to hear and chant and do service and just surrender more and more of my time and energy for Krishna's service. That's why I feel so gross, because I got so much lust in my heart. So just got to get on with it, get back to business, or it's my service. But sometimes we feel like something's preventing me. I can't just get on with it. Something is a disaster. Something's an emergency. So then, what happens if we take opportunities to reveal our mind and to take help to become, to have our doubts dispelled, just like Krishna dispelled Arjuna's bewilderment. He was completely bewildered. Greatest warrior in the world, he's crying on the battlefield, throws away his bow and arrow when it's time for action. Right? So we are feeling bewildered. I'm bewildered. I can't get down to business. Can't serve Krishna right now. Something's going on. We hear. So we hear, we reveal our mind, we accept our condition, right? And then we turn for guidance from Krishna, from the devotees. And what happens? They never let us down. So they always help us. They give us something to think about, to ponder, to consider, you know. They give us philosophy, transcendental knowledge. So don't worry, you're not your body. The result's not up to you. Just get on with it. I say, oh, well, this, you give us so many things to consider. And, they give us affection and give us so many things. They may even give us some sweets. That's great. Okay, yeah, I just needed a sweet. Or, so we get faith. We get faith that Krishna's looking out for me. This path of devotional service, I have so many friends, so many allies, so many resources. So then we're feeling, hey, I can go back again. Okay, let me give it another day. Let me give it another 3 hours. Let me try another program. I'll go to the program. Now see how it goes. And so like that, we just keep going, and it's okay if we're not big what is it called? Maharatis, ready to, save the universe single handedly, from the clutches of Maya. We're just, you know, fledgling bhaktas who are, you know, trying to stick the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. And that's who we are, and that's good for us to be there and to take whatever service Prabhupada wants us to do. So thank you very much for tolerating me. Please forgive me for any offenses or rambling, and Hare Krishna. Maybe we can have some discussion.
Hare Krishna. Uh, what? I really appreciate your comments about, sometimes just little changes in service, little changes in a situation can lead to less disturbance and more absorption in service. Just little changes. You don't have to, sometimes our minds, they expand things more than necessary. The more we dwell on something, or yeah, it just expands. Uh, so having someone to reveal your mind in confidence is necessary. And then just another comment in this purport to 913, it discusses that the only way, Prabhupada says that the only way a Mahatma becomes a Mahatma is because they're associating with other Mahatmas. So I just thought that was really nice to meditate on how we can become Mahatmas, which ultimately we understand the Mahatmas, dasana dasana das, servant of the servant of the servant. You don't have to be like you said, a Maharati fighting 1,000 soldiers at once like Arjuna could. But even he fell in despair. So what to think of us? But, Krishna tells him, your body's temporary, the antavanta medeha nichayokta sharinaha anasino prame yasva yudyasva atasma yudyasva bharata. That, because this body's, the soul is indestructible and imperishable, you should stand up and fight and do your duty. And we understand that the only duty we have in our life is to serve Krishna. And that means serving guru and serving the devotees. Anyway, thank you for letting me comment. Hare Krishna.
Did you have something?
Hare Krishna. I had some reflections also, if that's all right. I was thinking, I like how you brought up this, how devotional service brings knowledge and detachment. I was thinking that, yes, it brings detachment, but it also brings attachment to devotional service. It brings attachment to Krishna. It brings attachment to the devotees, to Krishna conscious activities. And so I was thinking about how, yeah, I just thought that was nice that you brought that up. And it also brought me to think that, oh, you said a lot. Let's see. I think maybe you have said this in another class or maybe another devotee, but when we become, discouraged or just not inspired, I think it's because of a lack of gratitude, amongst other things, maybe offenses or anarthas. But I do think that, as I think you've mentioned in a lot of classes, that when we stop to reflect and be grateful, for what we have, it does help to stay inspired and encouraged. It's not easy to remain that way all the time, but I do think that it does help. Um, that's something I'm personally struggling with at the moment, is just remaining inspired at every moment in my services and my chanting and my studying, because we're really blessed here, to be able to have the space and the time to serve Maharaj here in person, and to serve here in the temple, and just have so much opportunity to grow together in service to Sri Sri Gauranitai and Tulsi Maharani and one another. So yeah, you just reminded me of how, we all, have some difficulties every once in a while, but it's nice to find those devotees that we can reveal our minds in confidence, and, take the time and courage to do that, because it's hard to open up to someone else about our anarthas sometimes. It also takes self-reflection to see, where am I? What am I experiencing? Instead of just repressing and saying, no, I should feel like this, or Bhagavad Gita, Sastra, all the devotees in the classes, they say I should be feeling like this, so I should just not talk about it, because they're just going to tell me I should be feeling like that too, But I think we have a nice community here where we're all very caring, and we can be honest and say, hey, this is what I'm experiencing. And if they throw philosophy at you, then yeah, that's just what they can offer at the time, and we could accept it. So yeah, my spiritual master, he likes to say that it's really good to have a cabinet of mentors, of different devotees that you can reveal your mind to, because each and every devotee that you choose to collect from, advice from, and association from, they can offer different encouragement. One will offer you just straight up philosophy, because we need that too, and one will offer just a hug, or whatever list can go on. Wow, that was actually not what I was thinking initially, but I'll just stop there because that was a lot. But thank you, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, it's nice. Kind of connect the two comments from you two, that the association of devotees, the whole association of the Mahatmas can breed that Mahatma within us. And yeah, I was thinking too that there's a prayer that I heard that, or it's a type of a sankalpa or a determination or desire, is to have the best of association, to always have the best association and the wherewithal to take advantage of it. So I've been thinking about that. So, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.